story because I was floored when you talked about it. You know this. Mobsters generally kind of hang out in areas, neighborhoods. Was there a neighborhood in Los Angeles or restaurants or wherever, hangouts, where LA mob guys used to hang out back then?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little Italy in LA like there is in every other city, right? And they were running around with the one who was with Elizabeth Hurley, Donnie, the Colombo guy had come
Yeah.
out there. So, him and Tommy and people knew about them. I told you that when me and Tony we sideswiped that girl, they knew who Donnie was even without even asking. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the idea that there's no mob in LA is not true. But let me say why that there's a misnomer there.
Yeah.
The reason the mafia has so much power in New York City is not the mafia itself, not the 200, 300 soldiers and families. It is the diaspora of Italian
Yeah.
immigrants that work in
Yeah.
the DMV, that
Yeah.
work in the government, that they can lean on. And by the
Yeah.
way, historically, mafias and gangs lean on their own people. That is
Correct.
just a
Good or
sad
bad.
reality of it.
Yep.
Now, in LA, guess what? There is not that same diaspora. So
Yeah.
it makes them ghosts. And by the way, in today's crime, today's new version of organized crime, which my book's about, that's what you want to be. You want to be a ghost. You
Yeah.
don't want to be known. Tommy has all the rep he needs when he says, "Hey, my name's Tommy Gambino." And that's it. It's people get it. But he doesn't have to have that street rep that will do nothing but get him in trouble.
Well, let me ask you. So Rosario gets out. He had a good run of being free. And then I believe it was 2017 gets tripped up when they reconnected. I believe so. Totorina chased all the Inzarellos out, right? And then
Yeah.
Totorina, gets jailed and then he dies. So I think some of the Inzarellos went back and then, my opinion, reconnected that pipeline from the Inzarello family in Sicily to the Gambino family as we know it in New York, and somewhere in there is the Cherry Hill Gambinos. So Rosario actually got arrested and tripped up in 2017. I still believe he's still in Italian jail. And again, where Joe's out set on as an older gentleman. I don't know his involvement in the life, nor do I want to talk about that per se. But why do you think Rosario got tripped up again? They made their money, man. I don't care what they made their money. Why do you think he got tripped up again in 2017?
Well, so there's a lot there that you brought up. But yeah, the Inzarillos. Let's not forget, Frank Kelly married into that, which brings another
Correct.
connection to the Gambinos.
Right.
But listen, so Rosario was deported. Rosario fought his hardest to stay in
Okay.
America, and I'm sure one of those arguments was, hey, there was a mafia deal. They're going to kill me if I go back, because
Right.
that's just logical, and that's what you do to try to stay in a country.
Correct.
That's how you seek asylum. They weren't going for it. They shipped him back. And Rosario was involved in what? Online gaming. And he
Yeah.
made some text about online gaming and they busted him. My personal opinion is that Rosario was involved in the type of crime that I talk about in my book, like his son Tommy's involved in. He wasn't going around breaking legs
Yeah.
anymore. He was doing something that is more modern. And the problem is with Rosario, they just can't let it go. There's too many bodies, there's too
Yeah.
many old feelings. And my guess is the Italian police were like, hey, we got our hands on you now. You may have been vacationing in America for a while, but you're here now. And,
Yeah.
it's a tragedy because the guy is the definition. When people talk about honor and whatnot, Rosario is the definition of it. As his family, as his brothers stay free and get out there, got 10-year beefs and whatnot, Rosario took the hit for the whole family. By the way, I did the same thing. I could have easily gotten 20 and my life would have been like Rosario's. So I have all the respect in the world for Rosario. What do I think they're doing? I think they're shafting him. The guy's involved in internet gaming. So big deal. You're going to shaft him because he was part of the mob. It's a sad story, man. And honestly, it's tragic in its own way.
So yeah, and he gets tripped up in that, and then Tommy's out. He's got his winery, which we'll get into in a second. What was the landscape in LA? Because this is the part that even talking to multiple people, Frediano had there being a Dragna family, and that family being reporting to the outfit or through Vegas to the outfit, right? But as the years went by, the Colombo captain, and a few other guys out there. But as the years gone by, it's alleged that the Gambino family, part of Rosario coming over, Tommy being there, not just the Gambino guys, but the actual Gambino crime family, eventually took over what's left of the old Dragna family. What's your understanding of that dynamic?
So what you got it, you laid it out, but you're missing one big piece, and that's the Milano brothers. You know, the
Oh, yeah,
Milano
Peter
brothers
Milano,
came
yes,
from
yes.
Ohio, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
And
yeah.
let's not forget, they took that family, the LA crime family, over for, I don't know, a solid 3 decades.
You had a long run.
And there was a real bifurcation. You want to know the last case? I mean, there was a murder of a loan shark, I believe, named like Herbie Blitzstein or something in Vegas by the LA mob. And that was really the end of the road for all those guys. By the way, Milano did not get dragged into that, right? So he was still free, died of cancer in 2012. And then Tommy took over. And that's when LA became a Gambino stronghold. You know, Frank was on the East Coast, Tommy was on the West, and that was it. You know, there was no more LA crime family because, listen, Tommy doesn't go around saying I'm the boss of LA. Maybe he does in private, I don't know. But that doesn't help him.